Hi everyone, welcome to this week's English class with me, Claudia Tumba, your teacher. Today we're going to continue with our storytelling. Last week I spoke about pre-story, what you should do before you read aloud or tell the story to your students. This week I'm going to be talking about during story or the read aloud and what you can do and what you can practice. So I'm really excited. I changed locations. I'm in my kitchen and I'm using this paper, just a little teacher tip. This is a blackboard paper that I got from the place that takes a lot of my money, not Daiso, but Flying Tiger. It's really cool. It looks like this. I might take a picture of it a little bit later. But anyways, let's see how we'll do with it today. But it just changes things up a little bit. Gives me a little something. All right, so let's get into it. When it comes to storytelling and reading aloud your story, or saying it aloud, because there's different ways that you can actually tell the story. You can do the traditional method of holding the book, opening up the pages, and, reading page by page to your students. Not so long ago, before she could even speak words, Trixie went on an errand with her father. You could hold it up like this and read the story, but that's not the only way. You could also dramatize the story. You can use puppets to tell the story. You can film yourself saying the story and the students watch it. So there's different styles and ways to actually tell the story. But today, I'm going to be focusing on the read aloud mostly, but also dramatizing it, because those are the two things that I love and that I find more interesting. So what should you do in order to prepare for the read aloud? Practice. I can't say any more than practice. Practice, 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 okay? Now, you may be like me and you can wing it in any situation, but it will be at the cost of your students' enjoyment, right? So actually, before you do the read aloud, practice the lesson. And when you're practicing the lesson, you're going to be looking out for a couple of things. Convey the meaning, all right? So in your pre-story, you're going to do the hook activity and you're going to teach some of the vocabulary words that will help your students to understand the story. So already, because of the pre-activity, the students may have a good idea, but during the storytelling, there's lots of other words that are going to be coming in, lots of pictures and everything like that. So you need to think about how are you going to convey the meaning? And I want you to think about your students not knowing anything. 0%. Your students don't know anything. I don't want you to think of them as, oh yeah, they understand everything I'm saying, they can look at the pictures. No. Imagine your students know 0 and go from there. If somebody doesn't know anything at all, what do you naturally do? You go bigger with your actions, with your words, with your body gestures, with your facial expressions. That's really important. So imagine that your students know nothing at all. And then look at the story and pick out parts in the story that you think convey the meaning the most. Or, maybe it's in the middle of the story. Maybe it's a certain picture. So actually, you can use Post-it notes. You can use little stickers. Just mark where you want to kind of draw your students' attention. And how can you do that? Well, your voice and your body are brilliant instruments at conveying meaning. For your voice, you need to think about what voice you will use as the narrator or for the narration. If there are different characters in the story, it's best that each character has its own voice. So for example, in the story, The Nuffle Bunny, we have, essentially we have 3 speaking characters. We have the dad, the little girl Trixie, and her mum. Her mum doesn't talk a lot, but it's mostly the dad and Trixie. Trixie has the most lines, and you'll see that they're not really lines, they're more her just babbling or kind of speaking children talk. So for the dad, I would imagine for my voice, I would go like this and be like, hey Trixie, stop fussing. And, you know, maybe I would change my body language. When I'm reading the dad's voice, I'm going to be like this. When I'm reading Trixie's voice, I'm going to be like this. And when I'm reading mommy's voice, I'm going to be like this. So change your voice, your facial expressions, and your body language to represent the character that you are talking about. And focus on this. Again, remember, they know nothing. They know zero. And that will help you to be bigger and to be much, much better. Another important thing about voice, especially voice, is intonation. Intonation in English conveys meaning. And you want to take a look at the character's lines, and even the narration or the narrator's lines as well. The parts of that are just telling the story. You want to think about what mood and especially what emotion is being conveyed. So here in the Nuffle Bunny, think about the mood, the emotion, but also how the words are written. So let's take a look at a few examples with the Nuffle Bunny. Bear with. Okay, let's take a look at this first. So here, hope you can see it well. Here it says, Trixie realized something. Now the author has purposely broken the sentence up, made some of the words bigger. So you need to embody that. Trixie realized something, you know? Give it a bit of an action, give it a bit of an emphasis. And looking at the picture is what it tells you. So you can go with the character. Trixie realized something. So your eyes can get bigger like Trixie as well. Now you won't be able to do that if you haven't practiced or if you haven't thought about it before. So that's something. Ooh, I forgot. Okay, here the dad is speaking and he says, now please don't get fussy. So I would say, now please don't get fussy. And what is the dad doing? Oh, maybe the dad's not like that. The dad's gone, now please don't get fussy, said her daddy. And that's really important. That you need to make a difference between the person who's speaking and the narrated lines, or the lines that are said just as you're reading the words. Trixie bawled. Wah! Go with what the author is showing. And here we have capital letters, and capital letters plus an exclamation mark, which means it's really strong and she's actually really crying. So if you can actually really cry, that would be really, really great. Where else can I see? Here's mom. Mom's just got, where's Snuffle Bunny? Darling, you could even practice and add in some ad-libs. Sweetheart, where's Snuffle Bunny? Something like that, just to kind of get you into character mode. Now, if you have a monotonous voice, or if you really struggle kind of changing your pitch and conveying intonation, you really don't know how to do that. A good tool, which I always use, is my kazoo. So you can say the sentence, and the key thing here is think of an emotion and then do it with the kazoo. So for example, where's Nuffle Bunny? This is normal. Where's Nuffle Bunny? Say it in an angry voice. Where's Nuffle Bunny? So use the kazoo to help you bring out the emotion a little bit louder. Practice with the kazoo. Practice hearing your own pitch with the kazoo, and that will tell you, that will give you a bit of an indication. Because really you need to be diverse. You need to have a variety of pitches, a variety of voices, if your story has lots of different characters. Even as the narrator, what kind of voice are you going to use? And where are you going to bring in suspense? Where are you going to slow down your pace? All of those things are really important. So if you're not used to storytelling, take some time to practice. And if you are used to storytelling in your own language, but in English you're terrible at it, practice, all right? Practice. Okay, positioning. For me, positioning is really, really key. How the students are going to sit, how are they going to view the book, how are you going to hold it up. When I was growing up, we had circle time. So the teacher will sit us down and, we'll hold up the book, we'll sit all around her, and we'll just listen to her or him tell us the story. I think most of my teachers were, in elementary school, were hers. Yeah, most of my teachers were female. That's why I say her. But her or him, equality, okay? So I like that circle time. Now, as you get older, maybe 5th or 6th grade might not enjoy circle time as much. So maybe they can sit in their chairs, but still kind of in a theatrical semicircle where they, you're the center and they're around you. But to be honest with you, I find circle time is really good. And what I would encourage you to do is make this storytelling, or make the storytelling moment, a thing of its own. Not just another activity, another task that they're doing within the lesson, but make it special so that they enjoy it. Change where you're sitting, how you're sitting. Pre-corona, I would even encourage some snacks or something. I love also the idea of sitting on bean bags. If you have bean bags in your classroom, you can sit on bean bags, just making it different to just sitting at your table with something in front of you. Student interaction. This is going to be really, really key and really important. How are you going to interact with the students during the storytelling? Because you don't want the students just to be like, oh, when is this story going to end? You want them to have a role, a job, something to do. So here are some ways that you can get your students involved. Number 1, ask questions, okay? Ask comprehension check questions. And here they don't necessarily have to be about the meaning, but they can just be about what's happening in the story, how the character feels. So here, with just looking at this front cover, I can ask the question, is she happy or is she sad? She's happy. What's this? It's a bunny. Do you have anything like a bunny? Is it a real bunny? Is it a real animal? Or is it a doll or a teddy bear, like a teddy bear? Ask them questions. And that's why I would say practice and mark where in the story you're going to ask the questions that would most likely pull out the meaning as well. Number 2, get them to make some sort of sound. Now, if in your story you have, some animals, or you are in a forest, like fairy tales are usually in a forest, in a land far, far away, you can get your students to make some sounds. For example, to make rain, you just tap lightly on a table or on a door in my case. With many people doing it, you get that kind of rain sound. I think I have a thunder maker. Okay, I have one of these, got it ages ago from the Philippines. It's not as good as when it was before, but it's a thunder maker. So when you shake it, it's supposed to give you the feeling of there being a thunderstorm outside. A nice plastic bag can make slight rain sound, but I like to use it for water. Maybe you're in a river or somebody's swimming, then you can rub it together and do the motions. It works, especially if you have loads of people doing it at the same time and you've got the whoosh, splash, splash, splash. So get them to make some sort of sound. I can't do it, but there's the bird calls that you can get your students to make, or my favorite is always barking. I can do a really good bark. Okay, I don't know how I learned that, but that's a party trick that I got. But you can get your students to do different things. Another thing that you can get your students to do, and this is the 3rd suggestion that I have, is make a prediction. So here, we talked about using the cover. So just by looking at the cover, what do you think happens next? Well, you can do the same thing within the story. So let's go to a random page. Here it says, Trixie and her daddy went down the block, through the park. I can ask, where do you think they'll go next? If your students aren't so good at, they're not so good at maybe coming up with their own ideas in English, you can give them 3 options. Do you think she'll go to school? Do you think she'll go to the hospital? Or do you think she'll go to the laundromat? And you can have the students put their hands up for number 1, 2, or 3. And if they get it right, this is always a really good motivation. If they get it right, they get a point towards their point chart, towards their classroom point board or something like that. I always give out game points, helping points, answering the question correctly. I give them out, and that really gets the students putting their hands up because they want to accumulate those points in order to get a prize. So get them to make a prediction and reward them for it. I forgot the last thing. This is the last thing. I said number 3 was the last thing, but this is the final and last thing is, make some little, cardboard, or make some little, what can I call it? My mind is blank. I had the word, but make something like this where you can hold it up at certain points of the storytelling and get the students to do something. For example, if we're doing this story and when I hold this up, I want you to say, ah, all right? Every time I hold it up, you say, ah. So it's like a prompt. That's what it is. It's a prompt. Make little prompts for your students to be able to say something. This works really well if you have a story that has lots of repetition. For example, the story that I think I'm going to link to this video or suggest in this video is We're Going on the Bear Hunt. That's a dramatized storytelling, but within that story, there's lots of repetition. And I don't even what I expected. It's so natural. The students halfway through the story begin to say the line with me because they've heard it so many times. So that will be a really good time to, we're going on the bear hunt. I can tell them, whenever you see this, you've got to say, we're going on a bear hunt. And you can practice it a few times. Hold it up, say the line. Hold it up, say the line. So you can do that as well. So different ways to get your students interacting with you within the story. Number 1, ask comprehension questions. Number 2 was what? Oh, was it make predictions? No, make sounds. Number 3, make predictions. And then number 4, use some prompts. All right. And finally, my final suggestion would be, think about what you will be wearing. Is there anything that you can wear that can help the students to understand what is happening or where the story is placed? Can you bring in any sort of props? For example, I went to buy this little, I'm saying it's a bunny. My husband was like, is that a bunny? I'm like, it's got ears, okay? Because they actually had a bunny, but that bunny was too big. I was like, where am I gonna go with this bunny in the future? But this is nice and small. We can do the storytelling, and I have some creative ways of using it post-story as well. And maybe I can give it away as a prize to the students that, has been listening and has done the best work as well. So think about what props, what are you wearing that day? Can you wear anything that will help to tell the story? For example, I have this pirate hat. Really great for a pirate. Does it even fit on my head? My head's so big. Oh my gosh, my head is so big. But yeah, so you can use something like this as well. And you can tell the story. And wearing something like this already makes it fun, already makes it more exciting than you wearing your suit and looking all smart and everything. Can you do something on your face that that connects to the story as well? Those are all the different ways that you can get yourself ready. But my number 1 thing that I would say is practice. You can't go wrong with doing the story over and over and over again, making sure that you know what you will do and being prepared. When you tell the story, things may go wrong, but you will surely be looking out for what is really, really important. It's called Knuffle Bunny. Knuffle Bunny. Can you see this? Mom and Dad. What are they doing? Dun, 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 dun. And then what do they have? What do you see? A baby. Can you make a baby sound? Oh, baby sound. Baby. Do you have a bunny doll?
No.
Oh, I have. Wait a minute. I have a doll. My doll. My doll is called the Chubby Bunny. Chubby Bunny. If you're listening, then you can hold Chubby Bunny. Listening. Trixie and her daddy went down the block. They are walking down the block. They went through the park. Where did they go? Through the park. Good. They went past the, what is it? School. They went past the school. And into the, what is it? You know? Store is not a store. Laundromat. Everybody say laundromat. 3, 2, 1.
Laundromat.
Good. What do you do at the laundromat? What do you do? Look at your paper. What do you do at the laundromat? So they go to the laundromat. Trixie helped her daddy put the laundry into the machine. Can you see it? She put the laundry into the machine. Oh, what does she have? Oh my goodness. She even got to put the money into the machine. Cling, cling. And then they left. But a block or so later, Trixie realized something. What happened? What's wrong? The bunny doll, right? So get your song. It's time to sing the song time. Are you ready? Ready? Let's go.
Trixie realized something.
Ready?
Trixie turned to her daddy and said,
Ready? So, happy storytelling. If you use any of the things that I've suggested today and it's worked out well for you, or if you have any other suggestions, please let me know. I would be super glad to hear from you. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And I will see you next time where we will talk about post-story activities. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.